Yes. Now, what is habeas corpus? It safeguards the people from illegal arrest. Suppose any citizen is arrested without any reason, it is the duty of the government to guard the people. That is called habeas corpus. That is the one kind of writ. Second one is mandamus. It protects the petitioner who require legal help to get his work done by respective public authorities. If a person is arrested by public authorities without any prior information, they can pass a writ on called mandamus. And the prohibition, it prohibits a subordinate court from acting beyond its jurisdiction. If the jurisdiction is not under its limit, it can proceed by this writ act. Shariat, it quashes an order issued by subordinate court by overstepping its jurisdiction. Finally, quo warranto is the last kind of writ. It prevents the usurpation of public office through the illegal manner. What is called usurpation? The act of wrongful seize. That is, if anything is captured illegally, they can be saved by this kind of right. And next comes suspension of the fundamental right. A right can be suspended. In what are the scene or what are the places it can be? When the president makes a proclamation of emergency under Article 352, the freedoms guaranteed under the Article 19 are automatically suspended. So it is understood that it is in the hands of the president to suspend the fundamental right. And next is the directive principles of state policy. As in the salient features, we said that the Constitution not only provides the fundamental rights and duties, it provides the directive principles of state policies. What are they? It is the directive principle of state policy are enumerated in part 4 of the Constitution. It can be classified into three broad categories, that is socialistic, Gandhian and liberal intellectual. It leads the state or the government to run in a smooth way. And these principles are not enforceable by the court. Dr. Ambedkar so described these principles as noble features of the Constitution. Okay, and there are difference between the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy. Fundamental rights are derived from the Constitution of USA, but whereas the directive principles of state policy are drawn from the Constitution of Ireland. And in the fundamental right, government cannot take away your right, but here instructions to the government. If the government give any information, the policy can be removed. And in the fundamental right, these are enforceable by the court of law. Here the court doesn't play an action. These have legal sanctions, that is, you can demand for your right, but here you cannot. It has the moral and political sanction. It applies only for the states. And fundamental rights strengthen the political democracy in the country. The implementation of these principles ensure the social and economic democracy. That is, here the political democracy, that is political democracy, it constitutes the society of the country, so the rights are strengthened. Whereas in directive policy, it strengthens the economic and social level of the country. And these are natural rights. Fundamental rights are natural, and here these lead to protect the, it is a safeguard to protect the human rights. And next, fundamental duties. So far we studied about the fundamental right. As a citizen of our country, the Constitution has provided some fundamental duties, and it is the responsibility of every citizen to call it as a fundamental duty. First and the foremost duty is to respect the national flag and the national anthem. As a citizen of the country, it is the fundamental first and foremost duty to respect our flag. And next, to cherish the noble ideals which inspire the national struggle for freedom. You know, how our freedom fighters struggled to get freedom from our country. So you should cherish all the ideals which was inspired by the struggle, by whom they got, how they suffered by the British people, how we people were treated by the Britishers. That we should not forget anyone. And then next, to protect the sovereignty, unity, and the integrity of India, we should sovereignty is the supremacy of our constitution, and the unity, that is you should unite with each another, and we should not discriminate anywhere. And then to render national service, okay, and it is our duty to do our service to nation. Whenever we are called by the government or some authorities to have our service, we should not refuse to, we should render some service to our society. For example, now the deforestation has become a thing, so you can plant a sapling to make the environment, that is also one national service. You are protecting the nature, that is national service. And you can join in NSS and NCC to learn what are the basic things to render the service to your society. In school level, these are the national service you can render. And saving economy, saving electricity, saving water, all this comes under this category. To promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhoodness, that is all should be united with one another, there should not be enmity among anyone. And next point, to preserve the rich heritage of our culture, heritage of our culture, we have the I think what invaluable culture our country has. Even the foreigners, the people from other countries like to follow our culture, whereas we are lacking. So as a student, I request you all to preserve our heritage. And next comes natural environment. Don't pollute, save the environment. To develop scientific temper and humanism, scientific tempers, that is personal scientific fact and humanism, and safeguard the public property. Okay, there is a lot of difference between private property as well as the public property. So what are all comes under the public property? Schools, temples, churches, mosques, library, railway stations, bus stand, all this comes under public property. It is for us. Suppose if we damage it, where to go? So as you take care on your private possessions, you should take care of our public properties also. And then next, to strive towards excellent in all spheres. Okay, so in all the field we want to come forward in the society, that is our duty to enhance the India. And last, to provide opportunity for education to his child or what. So to follow all these duties, your child should be educated at least from 6th to 14. It is a compulsory to have or to provide education for our children. This is the duties. And the Constitution of India being federal in structure, it divides all powers between center and state. That is, what is the division? Powers should be, it should not have power in one hand. All the power should be divided between center and state. The Union Parliament has the power to legislate for the whole of any part of the territory of India. So the first organ of the government is the legislature, what I told, making of laws. So it has the power to legislate the whole country. The Parliament enjoys the exclusive power to legislate on the subjects enumerated in the Union List. There are 3 lists called Union List, State List, and Concurrent List.